Hi guys, Mal here. A couple of us tied one on the show last night, so it got me thinking with regards to how you deal with the morning after. Some guys like fizzy pop, Coca-Cola, other fizzy pop is available, of course. Other guys do coffee, that kind of thing. I don't. I prefer hair of the dog. So when you're feeling a bit rough around the edges, a bit fluffy inside, how do you deal with the hangover, basically? Just want to know. Cheers.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Word. Probably my least favorite day. Anyhow, because I absolutely love tequila. So, hey, I'm going to go first so I can get this nonsense over with and go back to the actual real stuff. So I'm having whatever this is called.
Centenario.
Thank you.
There you go.
My Spanish brethren. I'll tell you what I think of it real quick. Yeah, don't like it.
I was waiting for you to spit it out.
I don't think you have quite enough ice. Put some more ice in it. It'll be okay.
I tried to put a lot of water in it too. It's just horrible. I'd rather have dirty socks in my mouth than that nonsense. So that's how I feel about that. Anyway, someone else go.
I'll go. 'Cause I'm also drinking tequila. This is, I'm going to mispronounce it myself, Trade Generations. However, whatever the correct pronunciation of that is.
Tres generaciones.
That,
There you go.
what he's,
Ah,
yeah.
Go,
And
boy.
this is a tequila I actually, if you're drinking tequila, this is one I actually enjoy. That it's really mild. It doesn't have like all the burny funk of cheap tequilas that most of us are probably used to, like the like the Don Julios and Patrons and all those things that even go, oh, that's better and this and that. This is way better. As I understand it, like this is like sort of like the Basil Hayden of tequila. Like you know, oh, this one's okay. I can down this. I can drink it neat, and it's not going to kill me. But like, there is a much bigger world out there, and you don't know nothing about it yet. If we've talked before, it's sort of like things like Basil being sort of like your entryway into bourbon. I would think of this as the same way with regards to tequila, from what I've read. So, but
Gotcha.
I can drink it neat. It ain't killing me. I'm not making faces. So.
All right, I'll jump in. So
I can't
I
say the
am
same.
see.
can't believe he did that to you.
I am partaking in Casa Noble.
There you go.
Yes.
This is the añejo. So if I'm going to drink tequila, I'm not drinking stuff, Patron and that other foolishness. So this is pretty damn good. I actually have a couple bottles here. This one, I'm not sipping two of these because I'd be doing backflips.
I want to see that. No, I mean you doing the backflips.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I want to see him like double fisting tequila. That's what I want to see.
Oh, Jesus. I'm gonna take a sip on that one.
I don't want to do that because it's not what the idea of the show. So it'd just be Drink Fest 2021 is what that would turn into.
I'm gonna pick the mic up and talk on that note.
There you go.
I'm getting all warm inside.
I know, right?
Wow.
Well, I guess I'll jump in here next.
Cool.
I don't drink tequila. There's been some things in my past that tequila has made me do. And I consider myself to be a more mature man at this time. So I don't do tequila. So I've already had some Gentleman's Jack, and I'm going to try to put a hurting on this redemption.
There you go.
So, yeah. And other than that, happy Cinco de Mayo. Gentlemen, be good to yourselves.
Having some Leaper's Fork now, so
since
things
I
good.
am gonna try sipping on this cheap tequila that I got last year to do a 4th of July mixed drink. I made watermelon, agua frescas with tequila in it. They're quite delicious, but the tequila by itself,
Not so much.
not so much. It kind of tastes like black pepper to me. I get a lot of black pepper. I mean, I smell the agave, but I get a lot of black pepper, and I like black pepper, but not in my
Always bet on
drink
black.
of choice. So happy Cinco, gents.
I'll eat to that. And chip.
Who's up next?
Yeah, good question.
Jay or Juan?
And what about that Juan bourbon over there?
Well, this Juan bourbon also doesn't drink tequila. Last time I had tequila, I woke up with the taste of weed and hooker spit in my mouth. And so,
Wow, it just escalated.
Hold on.
Listen, HBO just texted me. They want the full story.
I actually do too at this point. I want to know the whole story too.
We just went after dark.
no, I'm
Must
doing
be out.
a mixed beverage tonight. We had dinner a little early, so I just polished off little Elijah.
Polished off, huh?
Mixed with a little. This is my little favorite mixer right here.
The ginger beer.
It's
You
Q
polish that
ginger
off too?
beer.
Q.
Not
Yeah.
just ginger beer, spectacular ginger beer.
If you haven't had this,
those are really,
this
really
is-
sweet to me.
this is great. It's actually made with a little cayenne pepper, so you get a little extra burn on the back end.
Oh.
So it's pretty good. So it's a good
Which
little
one was
mix.
that?
It's called Q ginger beer.
No,
Actually,
specifically, which one is it? Because they have a whole series.
so this is
Oh,
their
spectacular.
yeah,
Okay.
so this is their only ginger beer that they have.
So it's not to be confused with QAnon, right? Just want to make sure.
Just regular Q.
Okay, good.
So
All right, Jay, you're up.
Right. So, one of my favorite liquor stores, whenever I go in to buy bourbon, the fella always tries to sell me something else. And the only thing that he's ever been able to convince me to buy is tequila. So, and the reason that he convinced me to buy this Addictivo Extra Añejo tequila, it's dark like bourbon. Look how dark this is. See how dark it
pretty
is?
dark.
And it's only 40% by volume, and it's aged in French oak, so I'm told, bourbon barrels. So
Well,
that's
there you
how
go.
he convinced me to buy this. But it is, I am, look how much I have left. I have almost nothing left. That's how much of this I have drunk. I share this with everybody who comes over to my house. It is sugar, sweet, candy deliciousness. I mean, it is. You don't even need a mixed drink when you're sipping this. It is so good. I absolutely love it.
Well, there you go.
Nice stuff.
Addictive, huh?
Maybe I should try something like that. Maybe I would
So
enjoy it.
So sweet,
There's
so
a larger
delicious.
world out there, folks.
Yeah.
Embrace
All
the
right, so
larger.
what
That's-
about the old Godfather? What are you having?
Oh, I don't do tequila either. I gave that up years ago. When I
Well,
was
for
a
the
lot
record, I don't
younger.
either, and I think you guys could tell by the face, but I was trying.
Yeah, I was impressed you didn't spit that all over the camera.
That's the reason why I brought 2 glasses down.
Did you take a sip?
Shut up.
You didn't take a sip, did you?
I did,
Okay.
Yeah.
but I'm not going to do it again.
And
You
it
didn't
sounds
see
like
it.
everybody
You're
Watch
saying
the
you're not
video.
sure everybody caught it, so he has to do it again. Is that
It's
what
okay.
you're
It'll be
saying?
on the video. on
That's what I'm
YouTube.
saying.
All right.
And it sounds like everybody has a tequila story that they don't want to tell.
That's
Well,
right.
what we need to do is once
we
Chuck's
all have
finished
one.
talking tonight, we have another. We want to go to like a rapid round. So Chuck, go ahead and finish telling us what we're talking about tonight.
All right. Tonight I'm drinking Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond. 10-year, 100 proof. Comes in around $35, maybe 40 at the most.
Not anymore.
Used to.
That's true. Now it's over what, 50?
50, 60 now.
Yeah.
This is when I hear you talk about McKenna. I'm like going, wow, maybe our palates are not very similar because I absolutely loathe Henry McKenna.
Well,
Hate
I
it.
just killed it,
Horrible.
actually. I just
Yeah.
did a bottle kill. wasn't much left, probably 2 ounces, and I'm working on a second. And it's pretty phenomenal, I think. I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world by far. There's better out there, but for this price point of $35, it's very good. It's got a nice amber orange color to it. On the nose, get oak, vanilla. And the oak reminds me of when you, or at least when I had my hardwood floors finished or sanded. Fresh hardwood floor being sanded. Get a little bit of caramel, a little bit of spice, and a bit of orange on the, once you pull the glass away, a little bit of orange. And as far as the taste goes, caramel, vanilla, little bit of heat that ramps up like you're going up on a roller coaster. And then it drops back down to a brown sugar, and it sweetens the entire and coats the entire mouth all over the tongue, down the sides of my mouth. As far as the finish, it's still finishing. I'm going to say it's medium. It balances out. A little spice. I can't pinpoint that spice. Little leather. Not like Wilson's Swaden leather, though. Just a hint. Little vanilla, oak, orange. Yeah, that's it. It's pretty good.
I got a quick question for, maybe Jay and Chuck can answer this question. Since we talk about the McKenna and the price changing, how does that happen? Like the other day I was in a local store just browsing and I saw a bottle of Eagle Rare. And of course, I'm just thinking it's Eagle Rare, I'm going to grab it. But it was $89. And I was like, no, not for $89. So what happens? How does that number? Is it the makers? Is it the distributors that decide? And then does the store put something extra on it? But all of a sudden, I can remember when Eagle Rare was $45, $50. If it was $50, I would have just took it. But it was all the way up to 89. So what happens? How does that happen?
It's supposed to be 32 something is what it's supposed to run for.
That used to suppose that was its retail a while back.
I paid $39 today when I massively lucked up and just found one on the shelf walking by. I was like, "Ooh, what is it on the shelf?" Okay, all right, we're doing this right now. So, but yeah, I got it for $39. Yeah, I wouldn't pay $80, whatever. But yeah, it's supply and demand.
Oh, is that for a $750?
Jacking up the price.
Yeah, for $750.
Wow.
And I seen it for $89 for $750 as well. And then I seen a recent deal from my local where he's doing a bundle of a Blanton's and an Eagle Rare for $150. And I'm like, that's still way high.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, and I'm not, I think I have 6 bottles and then I have the big one as well. So just like, I wasn't like, okay, I had to have it, like I didn't have any. But, you see Eagle Rare, you grab it, and it was a store that I wasn't used to. So I was just like, oh, Eagle Rare. And I'm walking up to it and it's like, I was like, oh, no.
There's a bunch of things. There's a bunch of things that happen there. So if you take the McKenna off on its own, because it had a different trajectory than the others that you talked about. So McKenna won an award. It won like the World Whiskey something. I don't keep up with the awards.
San Francisco 2019.
That's it. Yeah. So they won an award. And so this, $25, $30 middle of the shelf, no one cared about it. Bourbon suddenly became all the rage, right? It was selling for $125 on the secondary for a while there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty crazy. And then Eagle Rare has its own issue. I think only as of last year became an actual allocated product like the Buffalo Trace. So that made it much more scarce. Whether they were doing that for marketing purposes or whatever, nobody really knows. But less of it around meant that its price had to go up. And then the things that you said actually absolutely take place. Stores set their margins where they can survive. Nothing irritates me more than when people bash stores for what they charge for any kind of bottle, because they have to set their margins where they can survive. These distributors already make it difficult enough on them by saying that you have to sell at particular price point for a particular percentage over retail and not more. So their margins are slim already, and then they've got pressure on both sides of the aisle. They've got the distributors who put pressure on them, saying you can't sell it for this much, you can't do it. Or the other side of the aisle, people saying, "Oh, you're selling it for too much. I'm not going to buy it. I'm just not going to buy any of your products because you charge more than what you're supposed to." So you got all those factors in there, everything you mentioned.
Okay.
And I can tell you, I'm in PA, and it's state controlled, so they don't. And I know Florida's pretty much an open market, so if you've got a store that can put it out there at $89.99, and they've got people who are going to come in and pay for it, why not? That's what we're all about.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm sure the bottle didn't make it past the day because somebody who's been looking for it and couldn't find it just was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna bite the bullet. I mean,
Right.
we're a particular group where, and the regular store that I go to, who I developed that relationship with, I mean, I know I'm not paying, I'm paying half that,
Speaking of which, my plan is to send you out that redemption tomorrow.
Yeah, and
No,
your
they did.
bottle, your olive oil gets back to me tomorrow, so I'll turn it around.
Cool. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
So let's
That's a good question,
yeah, it's a great question. Let's talk about it's Cinco de Mayo. So tomorrow there's probably going to be some people with hangovers. It's likely. Definitely if you're drinking tequila. It was for me back in the day. So if you're having tequila or if you're having whatever and you're just partying a little bit much and you have to go to work, or say you don't have to go working, but you just feel like absolute crap tomorrow. Let's do this rapid fire. We'll start with Rob. What is your go-to, Rob?
Monster Energy Zero Sugar energy drink and a greasy breakfast.
It's funny. Jay.
I don't get hangovers. So, I mean, I have learned over the years how to pace myself. It doesn't matter how long I drink or how much I drink. I'm always sipping some agua in between every sip of alcohol that I have, and I pace myself. So, I never get a hangover, not ever, anytime. I've learned. It's all about water.
I agree with you. But I'll also tell you that after shows with Chuck doesn't always go as planned. Marky Mark. What's funny is, let me say this real quick. Chuck's after shows definitely with Mile on there too. Chuck is just, he's kind of like he is right now. He's very calm. Speaks. He's just like
mellow as hell.
Yep, mellow. And he's like, I'm gonna have a drink. And then by the time he comes around to say something to you, you're like 2.5 drinks already into the after show, because he wanted to formulate like a really well thought, and it is always well thought out question or response or discussion to have in the after show, which is always fantastic. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. It's my dog. He's chewing on a bone, and apparently he's really got to chew on it. But anyway, so I will tell you personally, I'm not doing any more late time hour and a half after shows with Chuck or Mal. I've already told Mal, so I'm telling Chuck now.
Never say never.
No, it's going to be a never. I mean, we may sit and talk for 10 minutes or so, but no more of those.
Jay, that's what he said about Jack Daniels too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Chuck, we'll get him.
Anyway, Marky Mark, what's your go-to?
Depends on where I am. Typically, if I'm having a hangover, most likely I'm here in the house. So that's usually some water, coffee. I try to drink water throughout, but when I'm home, I'm talking a lot, and you guys haven't really interacted with my dad. We talk a lot, and It's I mentioned before in Trinity we call it liming, just hanging around, sipping and talking shit. And so the more we
We call
start
that the
talking,
whiskey rebellion.
pretty much, the more we start talking, the less water is consumed, but the more alcohol is consumed. But so yeah, it would be water
Oh,
first,
that's the after show.
pretty much. Coffee, and hopefully I have something with yeast in it, some bread or something. A little absorption. And I try to stay. For me, I stay away from the greasy stuff.
Nice. I will tell you, let me just tell you real quick with mine. It's water, lots of water, and then it's Tylenol before I go to bed. And then it's when I wake up and none of that worked. I am getting out to have crystals or Waffle House or something that is horrible for my system that will shock the absolute bejesus out of it. That's what I want in the morning. And to help soak up all that bad stuff and put a different type of bad stuff in my body, I guess that's where I'm at. And then if that doesn't work, it's just laying in the fetal position and essentially having the I'm never doing this again mantra, and then realizing you're probably gonna do it again anyhow. So that's me. David, what's up with you?
Okay, so I've had a lot of hangovers in my life, like probably a lot more than I should have. But for me, it's not, I don't know if it's different for other people. For me, when I have a hangover, it's like having a really bad head cold. Like it's a sinus headache, pressure, runny nose, the bad headache with all that stuff. Like, and it's nothing ever else. I'm never like nauseous, never really have an upset stomach, nothing like that. It's just always a bad head cold feel. So that's how I treat it. So like I'll hit the Alka-Seltzer, ibuprofen, hit some Gatorade. And honestly, like I want canned soup. Like you have chicken soup when you're sick. Like I want a can of like Campbell's chicken soup or something like that. Or like, you know, maybe I'll hit some like leftover pizza or whatever to soak up. But like that's basically how I've dealt with it more times than I would want to admit publicly. But yeah, that's me.
You know, when you were talking about having a headache, that's typically where mine is as well. It's more of a sinus feel, like you got all the pressure.
The eyes and the
I get little. I rarely ever do I feel nauseous. It's been a really long time. We're talking about like when I was 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, somewhere in that time frame in the military. 2 weeks ago. No. In the military, where I felt nauseous, and that was a funny incident because we were taking an aircraft over to Greenville, South Carolina. It's where the Navy has all their aircraft refurbished. And we were flying back commercial. So we didn't have to worry about the 12-hour drinking rule and this, that, and whatever. So the crew, we partied like rock stars. All right. I mean, we hammered it down, had a great time in a college town. All right. Greenville, South Carolina and all. And I mean, just had the best time ever. The next morning, we're getting on this little like crop duster plane is what our commercial flight is to our commercial flight to like the actual flight. And I remember sitting there. So there's like 6 of us on this, or not 6, about 12 people, I guess, on this flight. And I remember sitting down and I remember looking at they had actually did have like a stewardess or whatever. And I said, hey, I'm just curious. I fly for a living, so I don't typically get sick, but where do you keep your little doggy bag at just in case? Dude, we went wheels up and I threw up straight into that bag within seconds. I mean, it's like because you could smell the jet, not jet fuel, but well, actually all aircraft use pretty much jet fuel, but you could smell that fuel and the exhaust and all of those things.
The heat, the motion,
yeah. And then
Puddle jumper.
Yep. And then well, it wouldn't matter. The APU on a jet could give you that exhaust smell too. So it's the same thing. But anyhow, that's me. One bourbon.
Well, I try to prevent hangovers as much as possible because I'm the youngest one on the show, but still hangovers hit me even harder now. But so my go-to is Tylenol. Try to eat a little bit before I go to bed, and then this is something that I try to use. I pulled it right before the show, but Liquid IV. If you have a Costco membership, go get this. So one packet, one packet of mixed in a little bottle of water is like drinking 3 bottles of water. It's a perfect thing to drink right before bed.
I've seen those. I'm gonna have to grab one.
Yeah, it's super good.
Costco, you said, huh?
Yeah.
What does that do to your bladder?
I don't know. I don't care. It's probably no worse than what alcohol does in my liver. So
that's true.
But no, if I wake up with a hangover, it's a little bit more Tylenol, and actually grab the amino acid energy.
Yeah, that's true.
And Go get you a tub of that. Keep it on standby. Gives you a little caffeine boost, about 200 milligrams. Puts all the aminos back into your body. So that's my go-to.
Science.
Yeah. Billy.
So fortunately for me, I haven't had a hangover in a long time. I've been very fortunate.
You started the show the other day saying I am buzzed.
I was buzzed, but it wasn't a hangover. Two different things. But for me, it's a big glass of orange juice and some breakfast. And my thing is with hangovers, I can actually function pretty much the same with a hangover, but it's when I'm done with my day, I'm probably gonna sleep for the next 12 hours. Like, what happened? Like, just out cold. Yeah, I don't know why, but every time I have had a hangover, I had to get up and do something the next day. It was perfectly fine. But when the day was over and I went home and laid down, I once had a hangover. I think I laid down like 6 o'clock in the evening. And the next time I woke up, it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon the next day.
Jeez.
I
That's an
was
epic
like,
hangover, man.
That's
Yeah.
just
Sleeping
a
it off.
result of needing to function in the restaurant business, man.
yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what it was the last
Working-
time I had a hangover like that.
You
And
work
I-
until 2, and then you go out and party with the boys until 6 a.m.
Yep. And had to get up the next
That's
day.
that was our party time, right?
That's it. Because you're vampire. So, you're used to being up.
Mm.
So, I'm completely fine doing my thing, not a glitch. But when I go home and lay down, listen, I woke up to like, dude, we thought you were in jail. We thought you was in the hospital. Nobody could find you. I'm like, oh God.
Man.
So a good breakfast and a big glass of OJ, and I can usually get through it.
Nice. All right, Triple H.
Well, for me, the last time I had a hangover was probably 3 months ago. I downed almost a full bottle, 750 milliliter of 1792 full proof store pick.
Mhm.
Decided not to drink any water along with it and was just going for it. And it was very good, of course, until I went to stand up.
Yeah.
And it was just like everything was going black. I was feeling around and all this. And so I woke up the next morning feeling pretty bad. And for that, what I did was, and that's what I typically do is get Gatorade or Pedialyte, which we have in the house, and I just drink that.
Yeah.
And about 2 hours later, I'm feeling pretty decent.
About a kilo on the Pedialyte, huh?
That's it.
Hilarious. I'm wondering
like the
now.
little
Now I want to
commercial.
see. Now it'll be part of the after show. Will be Chuck standing up.
Right.
Touch your toes, Chuck.
It's like a
touch your
competition
toes.
between Chuck and Rob.
Yeah, well,
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna
Rob
lie.
sometimes has himself belted to the cherries in it.
I would pay top dollar to see Chuck just absolutely hammered. would be top
Honestly,
dollar.
I don't know how he wasn't the last time. Because it was
There you
me,
go.
Mark,
That's a good one, Rob.
Mal, and Chuck, and it had to be a good hour and a half of just sitting around, just shooting the crap. And
I think it was at least 2 hours.
It
Yeah,
was
'cause
at
I
least
actually
2
cooked
because
Eight.
I dropped out after an hour and a half.
okay, yeah, so it was a while. It was a while.
Yeah, Rob, I actually cooked while we were on at the show.
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
right, you
were.
did.
You did.
I cooked, then ate, and then sat down and sipped some more.
I'm
That's
telling you,
crazy.
fellas, one of these days our livers are gonna testify against us in court.
I know, right?
That son of a bitch.
He said he
It
was
was in-
never gonna do it again.
You know how many? Actually, it'd be. You know how many times he said that? I mean, not
Billy-
speaking
won't-
from experience or anything.
I
Billy,
wanna
go-
be-
Going to courts, going to my annual physical every year when I get those lab results back. And he's like, your ALTs are high. This is high. You gotta
Billy,
stop.
your Billy
Guys.
Rubin is outside of normal.
Oh Lord.
Doctor's like, I don't know how you're still alive.
You guys sure know a lot about liver and kidney tests.
Well, I do know a lot about kidney tests because
Well, you should. But you
yeah,
should.
Yeah, well, because you only got one. Yep. Man, my last blood panel was great. They told me my vitamin D was low, and that was everything else was looking good. All my
There's
enzymes,
so many
everything.
jokes there, man.
Look
I'm
how
glad-
white you are. Of course, your vitamin D.
You
is
do
low.
look a little. You look a little pale there, David.
Dave,
Listen,
come on out, man. Dave,
I've
come
been
on out
inside
here,
for
brother.
6 weeks. All right.
Dave, come on out. Dave, come on out here, brother.
You know
can't-
how funny that is that a white guy said that to another white guy?
Like, come on over here, and you're like, and Billy's like, how's that going to help?
Come here. We hit 100 for the first time.
I'm missing something here. Actually, when I was a kid, I used to be out in the sun all the time. I was like super dark, like very, very almost olive tone kind of thing. I used to get very, very, very tan as a kid, but like now I'll just burn.
Hey, Joe, do you know what I used to do in the
There
Navy
it
for a
goes.
little while? I used to hustle Noxzema.
I believe that.
Because who needed Noxzema?
White
Who always wanted-
boys.
Yeah.
They always wanted to sunbathe. You're in the middle of the damn Atlantic, you're actually in the Mediterranean Sea
Mm.
with that sun and nothing but the water, which is, causing the rays to bounce back on you. And you want to sunbathe. And they all come back and they look like Rob's shirt.
First off, don't say y'all. All right. 'Cause I'm as Caucasian as it comes. And the last
But
thing
you use cocoa butter, so that's different.
I do use cocoa butter every day.
That's different.
Yeah. But what about your skin? The rest of you?
I do it on all of me.
I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
On all of me. I put it on there. I mean, if you want me to, I'll do a video for you and send it to you.
No.
Would you?
I would. It'll be a really slow motion of my calves.
Hashtag Jody fans.
That is what we call OnlyFans.
It'll be OnlyFans, and the only
Yeah.
fan I'll have is Jay.
I'll subscribe.
Maybe Chuck the way he laughs.
Pay in bourbon. That's what I'll
No, trust me, it won't be me.
do.
I might get Dave. Dave is looking for some vitamin D. You never know. Don't kill me, Dave.
Hey, Jody, your next clip on the intro video.
I'll let
needs
you
to
have
be,
that one because I'm gonna hit you up for some of that rum.
Needs to be you sitting on the workout bench lathering them calves, well, with a pan up to your face, and the commercial.
You
Like
know
it
what he
dropping on me.
Yeah.
You know what he means by the vitamin D.
All right, I'm leaving this group, Jay.
Next to
Oh,
you,
not again.
Too much.
Hey, speaking
Too
of which,
much.
real quick, I want to clear something up. So the other day when we were talking about on the show, when we said something about, what happens if you if you leave the group. What I meant by that, I want to make sure we're clear on this because it was directed at Billy. Is you get to have a conversation with Jody. That's a meaningless conversation. At the end of it, after 45 minutes of me talking you to death, you're like, okay, I can see where I might have been wrong. You might not have been wrong, but it doesn't matter because I talked you into submission. So that's what I meant by that. And I knew you already knew that, Billy, but I didn't want any of our viewers to think otherwise.
Yeah.
well, listen, again, I got to give credit where credit is due. Before your phone call, my boy Rob, that's how you know who your friends are. Listen here, and listen, he was real calm about it, but in his head, it was like, listen here, mother, cool your ass down, relax and chill.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I missed all of this.
I was going all in my head. I was going all kitchen on you, but
I know it for sure.
Well, I mean,
That's that chef.
I want
Going all
to
kitchen.
leave this story, but
Interesting
at
reference.
some point I do want a full description of what going all kitchen means, but
Yes.
not tonight. So
Right.
just want to make
Step
sure
up.
that I corrected that for all of us. So anyhow, we have about 26 minutes of shenanigans, and we got past our topics, so that's accomplishment for us. So
Fastest I've ever gotten over a hangover.
we're all prepared for tomorrow.
I'm
I'm
flying,
off
so I
tomorrow,
can't get
shit.
too drunk.
So I do have a question we can kind of fill in.
All right.
So even though we don't do very much hunting because our connections to each other and all around the country,
Oh,
has anybody kind of slowed down because of the time of the year? I know a lot of stuff is not coming out until maybe a little bit later on in the year. Has anybody tailored to what they get or try to get their hands on because of the season is kind of over for that? Go ahead, Chuck.
so I'll say I've slowed down, but the only reason I've slowed down is because of how much I bought in February and March.
Okay.
The number of bottles I have is just. I looked at it the other day. I was talking. I think Chuck and I were talking. I was like, dude, because I almost bought 2 extra bottles last Friday, and so I got 2 bottles of olive oil for my buddies here on the show, and there was two Japanese that I was really interested in, and one I knew was a decent price, and the other one Chuck said, "No, that's a good price." And I'm like, "Damn it, Chuck, why did you answer me?" So I walked around the store in circles. I did. I walked around in circles for a little while, and I bought some chorizo, and I said, "Hell, let me get out of here." And so then I left, and I almost turned around because Chuck was like, "That was a really good price." I was like, "God damn it, stop!"
All right, Chuck, hit us up. Tell us.
So for me, basically from January to May, it seems to be the slowest time for drops as far as, the more sought after stuff.
Isn't that
So-
when Rock Hill Farm drops is typically in the spring to summer months? I thought it was sometime in that time frame.
I found it in the fall.
I mean, and I'm okay with being wrong. I want to clarify that because I have heard that.
I believe he's right. It's the fall thing. That's when
Yeah.
all the Buffalo Trace stuff is. Out.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it drops due to distributors, putting it out there for certain customers in certain states in the spring. And I believe I've seen it in certain groups where that has happened.
Yeah, I just knew that not my local guy, but the one in Smyrna at the one by Blue Coast Burrito. He had told me, the old guy there, I forget his name. I have his business card. I think it's William or something like that. But anyhow, he had told me that, Rock Hill Farms, he was looking for it. He thought they had one and he was going to sell it to me because I was in uniform. And so they like to give the military a hookup whenever they can. And anyhow, he said, "Man, check back in a couple of weeks because it typically drops in the spring and or spring, summer. I can't remember which time he said." And I was like, "Really? Everything else drops in the fall. Why is that in the spring?" That's the reason why I asked the question.
For example, look at ETL. I'm seeing that dropping sporadically right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. That is true. And that's a Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
Damn.
But it's getting back to Billy's question, things have slowed down. I mean, you'll have drops of, say, Yamazaki, Hibiki, the Japanese stuff, as well as Jody, what did you pick up last night? Was it the
barrel proof larceny and I picked up Leaper's Fork, bottle and bond. I just needed another one of those because I love it. And then I picked up that Bowman Brothers.
That's right, the single barrel.
Which one did you get, an Isaac or a John Jay?
No, I got the George Bowman, I believe, but it's
Okay.
but it's the one. It's a rum cast.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Good
things are
beginning.
slowing down right now, and in June things should start to pick up. But you'll see things like Blood Oath, Pack 7, and right now, the Larceny Barrel Proof, the Michter's Barrel Proof dropped a few weeks ago.
Well, Michter's 25 also came out right now, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It dropped recently.
Certain states won't even see one of those.
I'd seen a guy who bought it today from a retail place on Bourbon Nation or something like that. He paid $1,300 for it at the store. But that's so much less than, I mean, I wouldn't pay. I don't like Michter's. So he paid a lot more. I mean, he paid a lot less for it than if he were to buy it in the secondary, because I've seen it in the secondary exceeding $6,000.
Yeah, $7,500.
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah.
It's in PA's lottery at $999. $999.99.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an MSRP for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I just want you to get those Eagle Rares for me because that's what I want. Just send me Venmo and I'll send you back and a tip. So,
are you talking to me?
No, he knows who I'm talking to.
Oh, okay. Right. You're talking about the lottery then.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, if you want to send me
Yeah,
some Eagle
those,
Rares,
yeah.
I'm your boy too.
Yeah. So
I'll
Jay,
bet.
what about you? So this time of year when things slow down, does it tailor what you try to get your hands on? I understand you the Teflon Don and all. Between you and Chuck, you got the whole market locked up.
I don't really hunt. I found it the first couple of years I was into the hobby, I found it to be kind of a fruitless endeavor. And I think when folks are first getting into the hobby, they also find it to be a fruitless endeavor, right? I mean,
See,
it's
but I
very
look at it
difficult.
more as a. I like to do it like what I like. One of my favorite times I ever had going on the hunt was actually with David and I's friend James, well-behaved James. That was a blast, just going out on a hunt together, driving all over the place, and having a good time with another dude, and going hunting, and listening to these stores tell us all their nonsense and whatever. It was just fun. It was a great time doing that.
It's actually, for whatever it's worth, it's actually his birthday today. So shout out to James if he's watching the show. Well,
yeah, happy birthday.
Well, join us like all of once.
Happy birthday.
But yeah. There you go.
He's the reason why we have.
So I would
It's
wager.
always got to be backhanded. Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
I would wager that you could have an equal amount of fun if you weren't necessarily hunting for anything specific. Just, go around to your local stores, wherever you spend your dollars, whatever zone, area, part of the country that you live in, spend your dollars. Yeah. And just see what each store has, interact with your people. I find barrel picks to be much more interesting than anything you would hunt for these days. I mean, there's no drop dates on any of those, right? Barrel picks can happen at any time of the year. It's all about distribution and when in the lineup you got your pick and etc. So I find it much more interesting to just hit my usual haunts and see what they got. I get just as much enjoyment out of that, because I'll come away with something I had no idea I was going for, first off. And then secondly, I'll come away with something like this tequila that, I wasn't expecting. And that's what's fun, really. And that's what you're after in a hunt, is the unexpected.
That's true. And I will tell you that what I have found to be fun is going to tastings. Now, I will be honest with you. I have not liked any of them so far. So I want to make sure I'm clear on that. They've all
you
sucked,
like doing it, eh?
but I enjoy doing it because I've met some really fascinating individuals, whether it be, like hanging out with Jay and Jeff and stuff like that, or whether it's hooking up with Thomas or Jonathan. I'm sorry, Juan Bourbon, and in the local area. That's been really neat to get to know people and just to have conversation with and to hear the interesting notes that they may have. And then honestly, finding something that you might be interested in that's in the store that's hosting the event. Like the one I went, was it? I don't know if it was Don's place or the one in Murfreesboro, but I picked up some pretty cool bottles of stuff that I liked, and that was pretty cool. I've come across some stuff that like the one that has it's the Canadian one that's horrible. I think it costs $9. I mean, I'm assuming it's horrible, but it's like $9 and something. It has the two little huskies on the front of it. I think that's a cute bottle. I almost bought it. So
For $9.
For $9, I mean, I would probably never drink it, or I'd empty it out and put something out.
Yeah.
See, that's a conversation we do need to have on a show, because we have chefs on the show. I wonder if mixing meat, or not mixing, but marinating meat with what we would call throwaway bourbon or whiskeys is even good. I mean, you cook off.
A couple times.
No, I've done it too. Like Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
I think Slaughterhouse is one of the worst bourbons or whiskeys or whatever they trash that they have in the country.
I was surprised that didn't come up on your last show when Chuck was asking about
it's too easy.
That didn't come in a glass container. I was sure somebody was going to mention Slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse
and they
comes in a
didn't.
glass bottle.
That bottle is
no.
That bottle is awesome.
It isn't. Oh no, I'm thinking of Stillhouse that comes in the can, the
The
metal
gas can.
Yeah, the gas can.
Well,
it's the best bourbon in the world. I think it says it on there.
I will tell you this, Jody. When it comes to cooking,
so right there on the bottle.
What you put in, you can expect to get out.
And see, that's what I worry about, because like Slaughterhouse, their marketing is fantastic. Fabulous. They make a beautiful bottle. It's almost like that one that me and Jay were talking about this morning and also last night, and that was the that new one that's made by Bardstown, the Japanese one that's
in the Mizuna cask.
Yes, like
the 3 and 15 year.
Yeah, that 15 year, I that may be worth it just because the bottling alone. I mean, it sounds very
world whiskey something. is the
Yeah,
name of
it sounds very taterish, I guess, if we want to use that term. But
Now he's leaving.
but yeah, but I mean, but the bottle is freaking. The packaging is fantastic, and then I love the story behind it too. That's the reason why I like Baumburgers. The story behind Baumburgers is just
It is a cool story.
It's one of those kind of stories where you look at it and you're like, so you're telling me you don't know where you found this at? That's kind of the. Of course, they know where they found it, but it's found at Michter's.
Clyde May. Clyde May is another one.
Yes.
And also, you got to
a tremendous story, but it's all puffery, as Mr. Jeff would say.
Yeah.
And you got to remember when it comes to using alcohol and food, I wouldn't recommend using tequilas and stuff like that.
Don't use tequila for anything but to clean out the toilet.
It doesn't, it doesn't develop well. And I'll give you guys a little secret. So when I'm doing my ribs, I take a spray bottle and I do water, apple juice, and Buffalo Trace. And I spritz my ribs with that. So I wouldn't use, and not that there's Buffalo Trace is anywhere means a bad bourbon, because it's not, but I know it's a quality bourbon. And over the time that my ribs are cooking down and getting to that sweet point, I know that bourbon is going to impart a nice tone to the meat. But I would never use tequila or something like that. But you can use cheap box wine if you're going to do like a Coco Van or something like that. So it really all depends. I wouldn't use anything horrible. Like if you just feel
Hold
like
on, Billy,
horrible,
you've been in the kitchen and some kitchen manager or some chef has ordered that cheap food service grade 1 gallon Burgundy Sauterne Marsala that's about 4% alcohol and tastes like absolute dog shit, and you're looking at him going, I gotta make food taste good with this.
Yeah.
Hey, so I got a question for you that might go along with the subject for the last 13 minutes. Is there something that's out there that, like, for example, Jay knows this to be true. That's how we met, or part of how we met. I'm a big Blanton's guy, or I was. I got plenty of Blantons here at this house, but I don't look for it anymore. Matter of fact, I turn it like somebody's like, hey, you want a glass of Blantons, but they may have something else on the shelf that I may be more interested in. That may even be something that's not even as sought after. I prefer to have that. Have you guys come across that? Like I just don't find myself looking for those things that I used to find to be like, even Rock Hill Farms. Like, I can't wait to get my new bottle of olive oil from Billy. I just can't. But I don't even drink it that often. I have it more because of, events, special events in my life and stuff like that. But I also have Stag for that. So do you guys find that there's certain things that, like, I've been actually more interested in trying things that I've read about? Like I was telling Jay this morning, we were talking on the phone. One of the fascinating things about that story he was talking about with the whiskey that's aged in Japanese barrels of some sort, is it's the story behind it, one, but it's also the discussion that goes with it. Like when he was talking about who it was made by, I chose to go and look up the mash. Could they put the mash bill, in the write-up? And I was like, well, if we can't figure out who it is, there's got to be a mash bill that comes up close to it. So I pull up every single bourbon or whiskey out there and find the mash bill that closely assimilates to it. And the closest one was Bardstown. So I called him. We were talking about it. He's like, if you went to their website, it says that it's Bardstown. I'm like, dadgummit. But I enjoyed looking it up because it was fascinating to be able to see the different types of, mash bills that are out there. And then what I found interesting is finding the ones that match what you like your normal, like your palate says, this is what I like. So have you guys had any of that happen? I don't know if that's a long question for you, but
Well, I will say this. I think as a group, we're on a jaded side of things because we know we can get stuff. My brother Mark asked me for something and I was like, yeah, that's no problem, and it was so easy to get. Whereas, where he lives in Arizona, it's unheard of. If you ask somebody for it, they don't know what the hell you're talking about. So, you know,
Did that happen to
Rob,
me yesterday with Smoke Wagon? I had
yeah,
all three of them
so
there, and they're like, "You want one?" I'm like, "I've got them all." Thanks.
right. So exactly. So like you, I don't look for Blanton's anymore because I know where my connect is for Blanton's. If I want something from PA, I know who to get to. You know, I can always, you know, tap Chuck and he can let me know what he can get his hands on. I got the lever's fork from Tom Cruise over there. And, you know, so
That's one
really,
bourbon.
but
Or
again,
Juan Cruz, if you just want to put them together.
yeah. But you know, it's one of those things where, you know, like Jay was saying, he doesn't hunt. So when it gets to the point to where we are as a group, where the expectation if somebody asks for something, we're not looking for money in return, unless it's some high dollar stuff, you know, like in the hundreds, that's different. But
Yeah.
if somebody wants something
Well, that's
that's
not entirely
45
true
bucks,
because me and you worked out a deal where you sent me some stuff and I was like, "What do you look for?" And you told me you were looking for Michter's 10 bourbon. I found it, got it to you, and I don't think you had any cost on return.
right? So I think for us, we're jaded to say the least. We are. But I think in our little group, I think it's a beautiful thing because we don't pay retail, and hell, sometimes we don't pay shit.
Well, there's
Actual.
it's the expectation of like for us, there is a difference because the majority of us prefer our preference is to trade.
Right.
Like Chuck sent me some stuff unasked and didn't have any reciprocation that he wanted out of it. He was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Dude, I can I pay you or something like that?" He's like, "You know what? When you get another Weller 12, just let me know." And of course, I've been looking for that. And he's like, "Hey, I'm in no hurry. Don't be out there on the secondary market trying to find it. When you come across it," which is funny because that's how I came across it last time. Was I wasn't looking for it. I walked into the store up there in off of Moore's Lane. David, you know what I'm talking about, the liquor store. And I was like, I looked at the guy and I'm like, "I'm gonna buy this, but do you have anything hidden?" He goes, "What are you looking for?" I go, "I don't know. I mean, that you when you said that, that means you already have something hidden. That's already a fact."
He
And
wants you
so
to
I
guess
go,
right before he gives it to you.
"What?"
He wants you to guess right before he gives it to you.
Yeah, it's not. We're not playing the wizard behind the curtain. I mean, it's.
I'll take,
We're
whatever
not
it
playing
is,
Jeopardy.
probably
Either.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
take.
yeah.
I'm taking
So I'm
it.
like, so I just followed up with, "What do you got?" And he goes, "Well, I have some Weller 12." I'm like, boom, make it happen. MSRP.
Yeah.
If I could have bought 12 bottles, I would have at MSRP. Now he
Would
limited to
you?
one. Would I? Yeah, absolutely. I would.
You would not.
I would too. Now the foolproof, I'll be
If
honest
you
with you,
had
is mine.
if you had thought about that for a bit, you would not have bought 12 bottles.
No, I would have. That's a
So
fact. I would. I mean, ask Mark. I mean, not Mark, but ask Rob. Rob come across a case of 1792 foolproof barrel. I mean, store pick. He called me. Goes, "How many you want to go? How many they got?" And he goes, "They got a whole case." I'm like, "I'll Venmo you right now." Is that not how it went?
Yep.
So yeah, that's
So is that-
exactly what I'll do.
So I mean, you do breathe a little bit rare air to your earlier question, like, oh, well, if I see Blanton's out there, I'm not really looking for it. Well, if you already got a bunch of bottles of the same thing, it's no longer feels as exciting or precious when you come across one.
No,
Like
but
my
what I'm trying
experience
to
today, no, it's not a criticize or anything, but just your experience is different at this point. Like I came across a
That's
bottle
totally true. Art.
of Eagle Rare in the wild, just sitting on a shelf, like earlier today, and I was like it felt like I won the friggin' lottery. I was like, whoa.
I'll be honest with you.
We're doing this
If
right
I found
now.
Eagle Rare at $38, I think it's what you said you bought
Yeah,
it for.
39. Yeah.
And they had more than one, I'm buying more than one.
If they had more than one, I would have bought it, but that was the last one.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the way it goes.
Because
But yeah.
it's gotten where it's so hard to find. And I still think today, and I know that Jay may argue with me on this, I still think it's the perfect bourbon. I really do. The perfect if it's available and at MSRP.
Yeah, at the
it's
price
perfect
point,
bottle. Yep.
it's
For you,
For me, yes.
yeah.
So let's see what the rest of the group thinks about Jody's question.
So, and it kind of ties a little bit back into our earlier question of, what do you hunt for? I mean, I don't necessarily, or when things release, like for whatever reason, Weller in Ohio, January, February was like freaking Christmas. every distributor in Ohio was getting cases upon cases of Weller product. The Giant Eagles were getting cases of Weller product. So you just have to walk in and be able to and when it's there and be lucky enough to get it, that all the bourbon hunters haven't found it in the 3 hours that they've had it out.
Or that
Kinda
some
like
guy
Jay-
didn't come in and buy 12 of them.
Exactly. Well, at least they're smart in Ohio, and when those
See what you did there.
products, they're limiting to two per customer. Now you can go out, change your coat, come back in. They may not know who you are. They did that.
I think
You get the
Impractical
little
Jokers
mask
do
with
that all the
the
time.
glasses with the mustache.
Exactly. But like, I'm sitting here sipping on this Chattanooga.
I'm truly not the same person.
Where did Jody go?
You do that in the bow tie, yeah.
And
Yeah.
when did
All right,
Clark Kent
Clark
come
Kent.
on?
First of all, I look stunning in a bow tie, so shut up.
I've said you look very intelligent in a bow tie.
I see what you did there too.
What about you, Tom Cruise? Tell us what you got.
Well, I mean, this group opened me up to, quite a few other options. I mean, I was I hunted for Blantons quite a bit in the Nashville area before this group. So this group has kind of opened me up to different things. So, I don't really hunt as much anymore. I found a lot of great stuff. Like Jay said, different barrel picks, trying different things, experiencing different types of mash bills and store picks. So I really haven't had to hunt anything. I did branch out, and one of my go-tos now is the old granddad bottle and bond. If I see it, if I'm almost out, I'll go pick me up another bottle, and that's something I can drink every day. It's a good quality sip. So.
The one that kills me on that is I do like the old granddad bottle and bond. I looked for it yesterday, but the old Barstown, I kind of wish I didn't give you up that second bottle, because I have never found another bottled and bond old Barstown, never, and it drives me crazy. But like the big ones for me that people are looking for all the time, and I'm like sitting there going, well, I have one of those. I mean, I don't sell them. That's the difference, is I don't sell stuff. Or even use it for a trade, is like Heaven Hill. Everybody in Nashville is looking for Heaven Hill. Everybody. And I'm not.
Regular old Heaven Hill or bottled and bond?
7 year. The blue label that Billy has, which is bottled and bond as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
the new round bottled and bond.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, even with that, like I was in my local store who I go to all the time, and there it was. So yeah. What about you, Chuck?
I don't find myself hunting as much as I used to. Of course, it's all about making connections, relationships, and I don't find myself looking for the Michter's 10s, the bourbons, the ryes, the BTAC collection, the Pappies, the Van Winkles, the stuff like that. I'm more now. I found myself looking for the, let's say, the ancient age, the more easier to find stuff, the newer products, the newer offerings out there from newer places. Like say New Riff, for example. I know a lot of people don't like it, but that type of stuff. I just don't find myself looking for the unicorns, as they say, because they're accessible for me now.
Plus, you had it, right? I mean, we're all
But I've had Eagle Rare 17 2020, and I still want it.
But like so here's what I would venture, is that if you have some, drink it. When you run out, then go look for one.
No,
Maybe
I
you
agree.
find
I
it,
agree with you.
maybe
there.
you don't. But
there.
yeah,
You're not down with the bottle aging process?
Nothing ages in the glass, right?
I do that more now.
David
I
likes
do
to
that.
practice that.
I love that reference.
But what I mean by that is,
Yeah, I used to, but not anymore. Sorry, Chuck. Go ahead.
the as far as searching for things, now I get offered things because most places don't put things like that on the shelves, like your BTAC collection, your Van Winkle collection, your Pappies, anything that's highly sought after. All those stores know what the unicorns are. The Wellers, anything over SR 107, all of that stuff gets put in the back and it gets saved for certain customers.
You say that right there, and I agree with you. But one of the things I found very interesting was when I went to get my COVID shot out in Savannah, Tennessee. It's in Wayne County. Wayne County is the least populated city or county in the state of Tennessee. Now they had plenty of Blantons, they had plenty of Weller, they had plenty of all of that. But is that Hardin County? Okay, well, you would probably know better than me. But either way, it's those two counties Wayne County's right next to it because Waynesboro's right there. But those liquor stores don't get a lot of people looking for, the good bottles or the sought after stuff. And so they keep it in the back, but they keep it in the back for people like us. And or is what I found. And it was fascinating because I had the opportunity to purchase it. And that's when I called you guys. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the pricing was a little bit janky, to say the least. I mean, like $100 for Blantons. I'm not hurt.
Keep in mind, Jody, those liquor stores, and I'm not sticking up for them, but they have to sell so many other products in order to get that product.
Yeah.
I'm sticking up for them. You're absolutely right. They have to survive. You cannot get mad at them for doing what they have to do.
That's true.
It's so pointless to upset yourself and anybody else.
I mean,
when they have to do what they have to do.
I think emotion in any of this is silly, right? I mean, we're mad that it's so much money for a bottle of bourbon or whatever that we don't actually need for any reason to this is, the firstiest of first world kinds of complaints, right? Like, I don't want to pay this much
live in
for
the first
bourbon
world for an
issue
issue
that I don't
for
have
a reason.
to have.
So if I want to complain about my first world issues, I will, and you will listen. All right.
I mean,
Well,
Why do you
it's
think a
funny
lot of
though,
those
because
distributors push Fireball so hard?
Oh my God.
Or Wheatley vodka.
And their display
because they want to get their hands on the good shit.
That's right.
And their display is awesome for Fireball, or the other one is Jägermeister. Like they have excellent displays for that. Like you want to go and go. They're usually kept in a clear, cold container, and it's all iced over. It's like heavily frosted, and you're like, wow, that does look good. And then you start thinking back to the last time you had like Jägermeister, and you're like going, that wasn't a good experience.
That wasn't a good experience.
Yeah.
I will.
I mean,
say
if you're stuck in the cold,
I've had some decent ones.
No, if you're stuck in the cold, Jägermeister is fantastic. If you're like in a cold place, like at a football game or something like that, and you need to be warmed up with some hot licorice, that is your medicine. But hey, listen, guys, this has always been fun. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone. Let's do a really quick short after show, but let me pour a drink so I can say goodnight.
And one last thing, I will tell you this: here in Miami, if you saw Blanton's on the shelf for $100, I guarantee you somebody would slap you, push your mother out the way to get it, even at $100.
Yeah.
Here too.
What's your name? What? What is your name? Tony.